President Trump is considering importing more beef from Argentina, which he claims will lower beef prices in the U.S. The president argued this week that up to now, his tariff policies have helped U.S. ranchers. But many of those ranchers believe the president's support for importing cheaper beef from Argentina will hurt them. So here with more on what this plan would mean for American producers, Ohio State Extension A&R educator Haley Shoemaker. Haley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So this proposal is already generating some criticism. So how much beef do we actually import, and where is the majority of it coming from?
So we've imported beef for a long time. That's part of the industry functions. Right now, if we look at the USDA's Economic Research Service, we are importing, this is from 2024 full annual figures, about 4.6 billion pounds of beef and veal last year. That was up about 37% from about 2 years earlier. A lot of this is dependent on what our current domestic supply looks like. And right now we're sitting at one of the lowest herd inventories that we've ever seen in the U.S. That's following a couple years of heavy drought, natural disasters such as flooding. We've got wildfires factoring into that. All of that factors into the herd size we see in the U.S. And we're also seeing a really large surge in domestic demand and international demand as well because of the high quality beef that U.S. producers produce. So exports are likely around that 4.6 billion pounds.
Is a lot of this imported beef reprocessed or repackaged and labeled as American?
That I don't have a definite answer for you on. One of the plans that's integrated into the USDA rollout that came in this week is encouraging that voluntary labeling of beef that was born, raised, and processed in the U.S. to give that kind of recognition of, okay, this is U.S. beef. So that's something that's being worked through on the USDA plan, and hopefully that helps incentivize that purchasing of U.S. beef.
Got it. So what kind of impact could this plan with Argentina have on American ranchers and farmers?
Well, right now, Argentina accounts for about 2.2% of the imports of U.S. beef or imports of beef to the U.S. So importing beef from Argentina isn't new necessarily. Based on some economic proposals or outlooks, it would take a lot of Argentine beef to make a dent in what the prices are here that we're seeing in our producers and our consumers. So economists are going to have a fun time in the next few days, weeks, months, however this rolls out, seeing exactly how that's going to trickle down and affect the prices we're seeing in the store.
So how are beef prices now, and what are some of the factors still driving up beef and other food prices?
So beef prices are at a relatively high, sometimes record highs depending on the season we're in this year. Part of that, like I said, is due to a low herd inventory, and that's across the U.S. That's not just Ohio. When we think of our cattle feeding states out west that have seen a lot of drought, they've seen a lot of wildfires and pressures like that impacting the herd size. That's where we get into the supply and demand. Our supply is low, but our demand is still high. So that's what's driving those prices continually up. And it also depends on where we're at in the cattle cycle. So right now it is really enticing to say, hey, you know, I've got this cull cow or a heifer that's not as productive as I'd like. So right now is a good time to get her into the market while those prices are high. So we see that trend where we're going to be looking at, okay, more cull cows are entering the market. They produce or more likely lend to more ground beef products. So when we're thinking like on the cattle producer side, we look at the cattle cycle and where we're at there as well to indicate, are we going to see an increase in exports versus imports, and what does that mean for our pricing?
All right, Haley Shoemaker, thank you so much once again for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thanks.